Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is just going to be a video talking about what I've been using in terms of mice and mouse pads, I guess the mainstays in my rotation. And here you have the Zowie U2, which I just want to take a moment and say I think this is the most underrated mouse on the market. I finally did get a new copy of it. I did technically embezzle it from the mice that Zowie sent out for Boardzy Fest. I appreciate them doing that. I did include my old mouse that had creaking issues. I put a post-it on it, and I included $10 in the box, so it wasn't quite stealing, but yes, I did get a fresh copy of the Zowie U2. It feels perfect in terms of build quality, and once I got some new dot skates thrown on, it definitely just feels massively improved compared to my previous version. If you're a fan of the Zowie skates, God bless you, use it, but if you're used to quality, I would recommend throwing some other skates on. For a while, core pads were the only option, but now there are plenty of options that fit, and you can obviously throw dot skates on. I have some polyacetal dots, which make it play pretty quick. And yeah, this is of course the Zebra Artisan Zero, which is a collab I'm doing with Artisan, set to launch in a few months. I've had this prototype since February, so I've gotten a ton of use on it, and the Zero is just one of my favorite pads. It is the best version of the Zero in my opinion, which is what 90% of these control pads try to be. So yeah, this is XXL size. This is the soft. It's pretty much all I want from a control mouse pad. I'm sure some people are like, oh, you're saying that because you're doing the collab, but it's you can literally go back 4 years. I've been shilling Artisan forever. So yeah, that's been pretty great, but there are a few non-Artisan pads I've been using. One of them is the Xraypad Heavy Bee. The other one is the Errennir Gecko, which I will get to. But yeah, the Heavy Bee is a very interesting pad, which I will include in a roundup, or I'll do a full review soon. You can see the honeycomb pattern. Inside the honeycombs are a ton of small dots, which actually make up the texture. There are two versions. There's the control and there's the speed version. This is the speed version, but it honestly still plays like a control pad there. It feels very nice on your arm. There's a slight textured feedback on your skate. But let's take very average, larger style stock skates. This is going to play very controlled. Some people might think this is similar to the Padsmith Temple of Dreams or the Kurosan Samurai. And in terms of speed, it is kind of close to the Samurai, but this is just a much different actual texture. And it is pretty unique to anything I've felt before. It's definitely higher static friction compared to the Artisan Zero, extremely noticeable. And the dynamic friction is high as well. It's not hard to come to a stop, but out of the box, it is way more controlled. And then it feels like the weave opens up, loosens up a bit and gets a little bit faster dynamically. So that's a pad that I've had for a while. I've been testing before it was released. I don't know what it's priced at, but I don't think it's charging a crazy premium for whatever faux pour-on type of base they have. Yeah, I realized what am I good for if I don't do a GPX press down test and a lighter test. And yeah, this is their soft, which doesn't seem to be quite as plushy as an Artisan soft. It absolutely has some give to it. But yeah, across the board, Chinese pour-on doesn't seem to be quite as plushy as Japanese pour-on. Also, I'm not sure if this is 4mm or 3.5. But yeah, just in general, this is not my type of mouse pad, a pad on the control end like this, but I just find it to be very unique, and it's just kind of refreshing. With lighter mice, I've been able to play pretty well with it, but yeah, it's definitely not going to be my main #1 mouse pad. But yeah, it's always nice to see a new surface type that isn't a complete flop, and it, like I said, it has a nice feeling on your arm. I wouldn't say it's the smoothest pad you're ever going to feel. It is lightly textured, but it's by no means abrasive, and the pad just generally has a cool temperature feeling to it, which I find kind of weird for just a cloth mouse pad. But yeah, I can say that my time on this has been solid. Not my absolute favorite, but yeah, I mean, definitely worth checking out. And that is kind of a mini review of it. And now this is one that people said I missed for the longest time, the Errennir Gecko. I was able to get it for $28 from Addis Inc. on their 4th of July sale or something. And yeah, I don't know. The gimmick with this is that it has a sticky base, and the problem with that is that's not really the main advantage of pour-on. Just because you can be more sticky than pour-on doesn't mean the base actually performs well. As you can see, this definitely is a stiffer base, which I don't have an issue with, but it's just the amount of marketing that was done around this base, and it's just the average fucking mid base with some unique. I mean, I've seen this bottom before, but I mean, this is the most popular pad with it. But yeah, it's going to stay stuck on your desk. I was expecting this to be a much faster pad. Everybody was yeah, this is a super speedy pad, but I find it to be a smooth texture, but kind of controlled, but it's just not like a Lethal Gaming Gear Saturn, for example. It does have a different feeling. It's not quite a Raiden, not quite an Energon. It's slower than those options in my experience, and there is no time really using this where I got the hype, but then again, I was able to get it for less than $30 to my doorstep. So it is like, it's a solid option, but I wasn't blown away by it. So yeah, really the best way I can describe it is an overall smooth surface that still maintains a good amount of dynamic friction, but that just sounds like the description of a ton of other pads. So it doesn't, to me, have a really innovative surface, which is what I was expecting, along with like the silicone base, which as you can see, it does get like very dirty. I mean, I might have fucking dropped on the floor at some point. But yeah, not a game-changing mousepad for me. The stitching, I would say, is slightly below like the average, like insane stitching that China's putting out. That's pretty much on Artisan's level. And it sounds like something I would enjoy in Fortnite a bit more, but I've just been extremely Artisan, Hien, and Zero-pilled, and I guess that leads me to the last mousepad I'm going to talk about. I didn't realize this was going to be so long-winded about mousepads, but yeah, it's the Hien Soft. I actually don't need to say anything about this. It's the greatest mousepad of all time. It's remarkable that the first Artisan mousepad I ever tried happened to be the best mousepad ever made. So it really, the fact I even reviewed mousepads from that point, it's sheer luck. I should have just realized that this was the best. But yeah, really, regardless of the mice, honestly, it's not true. Like a Razer Viper V3 Pro with stock skates is going to feel, you're not going to pick up any of the texture. It's going to feel too controlled. It's not going to feel right. So you're going to want to use mouse skates that bring the most out of the texture. And if you get a Hien, you got to make it past the first week, because it's going to feel extremely rough like sandpaper at first, but it doesn't really keep that feeling, especially once you build up a tolerance to it and realize that it is just fucking God's gift in terms of mousepad textures. I've tried the Key 83 a lot from Artisan. I've tried the Hayate Otsu, but the Hien is just the best. And notice I'm not even mentioning other brands' hybrid pads. But yeah, that's going to be all for the mousepad section. Artisan is still on top. It's like if I did a fucking keyboard section. Wooting is still on top. I saw Razer release their like little snap tap. Wooting was able to outclass them within like a day. So yeah, the moral of the story is that the tried and true best-in-class products are generally good. And that brings me to the mouse section. I'm going to say that the three mice that I've honestly probably put the most time on in the past few weeks, you're looking right at them. The ULX Cheetah, the small size, the Tarek edition. Is it discolored? Is it not? I don't know. With one infinity skin on it. Because kind of sidetracking once again, I've found this box of infinity skins. I was like, man, I fucking struck gold. So I took my small, I put an infinity skin on each side, and I just realized it feels like the medium version. So then I put it on one side just so I can like feel special, I guess. I don't even know. It doesn't feel that different, much better for fingertip. But yeah, that's that ULX small. It's probably my go-to in like aim trainers, pretty much anything besides Fortnite, because this is, even with the infinity skin, just a bit too small for me to comfortably like maintain and pull off a claw grip while trying to aim and hit the side buttons at the same time. It just doesn't work for me. It's too small of a shape. I have also been using the Beast X Max a good amount because it is obviously final mouse profile but scaled up, but I wouldn't say it's just in my top 3 most used mice at the moment. The Zowie U2, since I acquired this new copy, I pretty much like haven't been able to take my hands off it. Like, sure, the scroll wheel's god awful, but sometimes you gotta put up with stuff like that for the other features to like just shine on, I guess. And if a Chinese company were to clone this, even if they were to improve the latency, I would bet a lot of money that it just wouldn't feel as good, like when everything is considered. And yeah, people complain about the click feeling as well, but a lot of people just want to find reasons to hate Zowie. They don't want to appreciate that this is like one of the best shapes of all time. You can also adjust the click tensioning with the screws, which is a very innovative, forward-thinking feature. But yeah, I genuinely think this is a top 3 mouse for me. The side button positioning is perfect. The curvature on the side, very nice for your thumb, in my opinion, with 21:11 hands. A lot of people say this is probably closest to the Zowie S2, and it's just not anywhere near as high in the back. If you look at a Zowie S2, I mean, I have one fucking right here. Where is it? And yeah, I mean, there it is. Just look at the bottom profiles. These mice are by no means clones of each other. And yeah, the Zowie S2, I guess in terms of just like the overall profile, it's similar, but the U2 is lower. I love the shape. It just feels more optimized for claw than something like the GPX, which is another mouse that I put a good amount of time on, the GPX2. I've still yet to get an updated copy to see if it's actually, the clicks have been made lighter, but I don't know. I just try this a good amount and I'm like, yep, still feels like the GPX, which has been a thing since like, what, 2021? So I don't know. There's nothing really new going on there, but the GPX, tried and true, top option as well, but it's just not something I use as much personally. So yeah, I'd say the U2 is up there with the Viper V3 Pro for my favorite mouse to like actually use in game. I have been testing the Xtrfy Ergo, the M64 Pro. My full review on these is going to be out very soon, but I like to get a good amount of testing, especially if a product's not out. There's no reason to really rush the review. The big gimmick of this is the lower button height, which I do kind of take advantage of. I can't tell if that's like one of the reasons I like this mouse, or the fact that it's like actually just a different style of ergo shape. It's not an EC clone, and it's also not complete shit. So it's very hard to do those two things as an ergo mouse in this current landscape. I feel like it kind of allows you to get like the benefits of an ergo in many places, but the hump, it just feels kind of just like this profile in your palm, it feels somewhat ambi-like. There is obviously a huge curve for your thumb, and if you palm grip, it feels like it's a bit more designed for that, but it works very well for claw, in my opinion, as well. But yeah, the clicks themselves, they don't feel bad in terms of like actuation. They are very light. I was having some issues with like mispresses on the lowest debounce setting, but this is technically an earlier unit. And yeah, the quality is not like completely pristine, but just pressing them down in game, it is a very light, tactile, snappy click. It's not like sharp and hard to spam. So yeah, they're solid. I think the side buttons are pretty good as well. But yeah, I just want to quickly touch on the M64 because it's something that has been in my rotation a good amount. I do enjoy using it, and I think it has potential for people who like ergos. Maybe if you like the Rocket like Cone series, you'd like this, and also if you want something smaller than the Xtrfy M4, that could be up your alley. But yeah, getting back to the Zowie U2, the one gripe with this is really that it doesn't have 4K polling despite having a massive dongle. I can say, obviously, based on like how I feel about this mouse, it doesn't take away from it. The sensor implementation still feels very good with this mouse, and some people, I really feel like the reason more people don't like this mouse is because of like perceived click latency issues, which I just don't feel like anybody really has ever experienced. Like nobody has ever clicked this mouse and been like, damn, if I had 1.5 ms lower click latency, I would have like won this gunfight. It's not what happens, and I understand advocating for like best of the best tech. I do think Zowie has plans to release like a 3950 version, ideally with higher polling, because it's the industry standard. But like this is really an incredible feeling mouse. It doesn't have the lowest button height, it doesn't have the lowest weight, it is 60 grams. It's like very well balanced, but there is something to be said just about how well this shape clicks for me. And yeah, I think the Zowie U2, easily the most underrated mouse. If you take one thing from this video, let it be that, along with a few other things. Also, the Zebra Beast X Max is available. Some people are calling it ugly. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, etc. But yeah, that's all for this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Any questions about my setup and your setup, any setup, let me know in the comments down below. Peace out.